If you want to be informed about the latest developments on the agenda, do not forget to subscribe to the current news channel and turn on notifications. After the escalation of conflict between Israel and Hamas, thousands of people gathered in Washington, D.C. on Saturday to call for a ceasefire in the small Gaza Strip following approximately a month of relentless retaliatory bombardments by Israel. Around the Liberty Plaza near the White House, a large crowd, adorned with the colors of the Palestinian flag, assembled, and many held protest banners that read "Free Palestine" and "Gaza Lives." Small packages wrapped in white sheets, stained with red, symbolized the growing number of Palestinian children killed in the campaign. As protesters made demands from Israel, they also aim to send a strong message to President Joe Biden, who has supported Israel since Hamas militants brutally killed around 1,400 people, including children and elderly individuals. On October 7, the crowd at the demonstration chanted slogans calling for an end to America's aid to Israel. The Gaza Strip, under the control of Hamas, is home to approximately 2 million people, the majority of whom are children and young adults. Palestinian authorities claim that more than 9,000 people have been killed in Israel's well-funded military operation, while Israeli officials refuse to cease until Hamas releases all hostages. Organizers stated that Saturday's event could be the largest gathering in the United States in support of Palestinians to date. Supporters traveled from distant places, such as Chicago and Florida, to join the worldwide protests against Israel's military intervention. President Biden called for a temporary halt to the hostilities to allow humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip and provide people with an opportunity to flee. In response, Israel announced that they would not agree to a ceasefire until Hamas released the hostages. In the aftermath of the Israel-Hamas conflict, tensions continued to simmer globally, and the situation remained in the international spotlight. The gathering in Washington, D.C. served as a stark reminder of the deep-rooted sentiments surrounding the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. The crowd, predominantly draped in the iconic Palestinian flag colors, voiced their desire for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. The protest was a visual and vocal manifestation of solidarity with the Palestinian people, with banners that proclaimed "Free Palestine" and "Gaza Lives." As emotions ran high, the small packages swathed in white sheets, stained with red, served as poignant symbols of the innocent lives lost in the ongoing strife, while the protesters made their grievances against Israel heard. Their demonstration also carried a message to President Joe Biden, who had thrown his support behind Israel following the horrific actions of Hamas militants on October 7, which resulted in the deaths of around 1,400 people, including children and elderly individuals. The crowd's chants for an end to America's aid to Israel reflected the growing calls for a reassessment of U.S. policies in the region. The Gaza Strip, under the control of Hamas, is home to a population of about 2 million, primarily consisting of children and young adults. Palestinian authorities reported a staggering death toll of over 9,000 people in Israel's well-funded military operation. In contrast, Israeli officials remained resolute, refusing to entertain a ceasefire until Hamas released all the hostages held in their custody. Organizers highlighted the magnitude of the event, positioning it as the most significant pro-Palestinian gathering to date in the United States. Supporters from far-flung regions, such as Chicago and Florida, joined the worldwide wave of protests against Israel's military intervention, underscoring the global impact of the ongoing conflict. Amidst the growing international pressure, President Biden sought to broker a temporary pause in the hostilities to facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip and create an opportunity for people to seek safety. However, Israel's insistence on the release of hostages before agreeing to a ceasefire demonstrated the complex and deeply entrenched nature of the ongoing crisis. As the world witnessed the poignant gathering in Washington, D.C., and the continuing turmoil in the Israel-Hamas conflict, the global community grappled with the ongoing complexities of the situation. The demonstration in the heart of the U.S. Capitol was a vivid display of the deep-seated emotions that surround the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. The sea of people, their attire adorned with the iconic colors of the Palestinian flag, stood in unity, fervently calling for a ceasefire in the beleaguered Gaza Strip. The banners they held aloft bore messages that reverberated around the world, proclaiming free Palestine and Gaza lives. A stark imagery of small packages shrouded in white sheets, stained with red to represent the lives of innocent Palestinian children lost in the conflict, served as a haunting reminder of the human toll. While protesters directed their grievances towards Israel, their message also resonated with President Joe Biden, who had been unwavering in his support for Israel following the brutal actions of Hamas militants on October 7. The chants demanding an end to American aid to Israel underscored the growing scrutiny of U.S. policies in the region. Hamas-controlled Gaza, home to approximately 2 million people, predominantly comprised of children and young adults, remained at the center of the conflict. Palestinian authorities reported an alarming death toll exceeding 9,000 individuals as a result of Israel's well-funded military operation. Meanwhile, Israeli officials held their ground, refusing to consider a ceasefire until Hamas released all hostages held in captivity, illustrating the entrenched nature of the crisis. Organizers of the event emphasized its significance as the largest pro-Palestinian gathering in the United States to date. Supporters from far-flung locations, such as Chicago and Florida, converged to participate in the global outpouring of protests against Israel's military intervention. Amid mounting international pressure, President Biden's efforts to mediate a temporary pause in hostilities, allowing humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip and offering an opportunity for people to seek refuge, revealed the intricacies of the situation. However, Israel's insistence on the release of hostages before consenting to a ceasefire underscored the complexity of resolving the long-standing and deeply rooted conflict. The world continued to watch and hope for a peaceful resolution to this enduring crisis.